Living systems have been around for a few billion years and will be around for many more. In the living world, there's no landfill. Instead, materials flow. One species' waste is another's food, energy is provided by the sun, things grow, then die, and nutrients return to the soil safely. And it works. Yet as humans, we've adopted a linear approach. We take, we make, and we dispose. A new phone comes out, so we ditch the old one. Our washing machine packs up, so we buy another. Each time we do this, we're eating into a finite supply of resources and often producing toxic waste. It simply can't work long term. So what can? If we accept that the living world's cyclical model works, can we change our way of thinking so that we too operate a circular economy? Let's start with the biological cycle. How can our waste build capital rather than reduce it? By rethinking and redesigning products and components, and the packaging they come in, we can create safe and compostable materials that help grow more stuff. As they say in the movies, no resources have been lost in the making of this material. So what about the washing machines, mobile phones, fridges? We know they don't biodegrade. Here, we're talking about another sort of rethink, a way to cycle valuable metals, polymers, and alloys so they maintain their quality and continue to be useful beyond the shelf life of individual products. What if the goods of today became the resources of tomorrow? It makes commercial sense. Instead of the throw away and replace culture we've become used to, we'd adopt a return and renew one, where products and components are designed to be disassembled and regenerated. One solution may be to rethink the way we view ownership. What if we never actually owned our technologies? We simply licensed them from the manufacturers. Now, let's put these two cycles together. Imagine if we could design products to come back to their makers, their technical materials being reused and their biological parts increasing agricultural value. And imagine that these products are made and transported using renewable energy. Here we have a model that builds prosperity long term. And the good news is, there are already companies out there who are beginning to adopt this way of working. But the circular economy isn't about one manufacturer changing one product. It's about all the interconnecting companies that form our infrastructure and economy coming together. It's about energy. It's about rethinking the operating system itself. We have a fantastic opportunity to open new perspectives and new horizons. Instead of remaining trapped in the frustrations of the present, with creativity and innovation, we really can rethink and redesign our future.
Excellent. All right. Thank you all for coming back to this afternoon session. Again, I'm Louis Perkins, and I'm the president of the Cradle to Cradle Products Innovation Institute. And so let's move into our afternoon session. But before that, what I'd like to say is that we do have some exciting workshops that are happening tonight or later this afternoon at 4:30, and the sign up is happening in the back of the room, and those workshops will take place here. So please, since I didn't announce it before the break, if you feel like you need to get up and go add your name, please do so quietly, but please do, because we want to make sure that we have lots of you engaging in the workshops. With that being said, I'm going to turn it over to our panel moderator for the next discussion on keeping nutrients in cities, looking at the systems around food and food waste, and we have a great panel for that, so I will turn it over to our group. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Can you hear me? Yes? Well, thank you very much for all being here today. I am extremely happy to moderate this session on keeping nutrients in the city and working on the biocycle part of the circular economy. You have heard a lot yesterday on the plastics cycle, on the material cycle, and we will today focus on the bio cycle, how we can keep the nutrients in the city. It's a very timely subject. You all know about what's happening in this very big event about cities of tomorrow, and we will try to give you the point of view of entrepreneurs, states, as well as researchers on this subject. I have three distinguished panelists that I will introduce in a minute. We will first have a time of, after a quick introduction, of a presentation from them, and then we will have a Q&A session for quite some time, and we will also have the opportunity to, on the app, through the Ask and Vote application, to send your questions. So please do so. We'll have plenty of time to discuss that. So let me quickly introduce our panelists. So you have here Teresa. Teresa is the coordinator of organic waste management in the Waste Agency of Catalonia. You're a chemical engineer by trade, and also you have an MBA, and you coordinated this agency for since 2000 already. This part of the agency for since the year 2000. We have Silvio, who is the co-founder and the CEO of Veritas. Veritas is a company which was founded 15 years ago, which mission, and if you live in Barcelona, I think you know this company, which mission is to provide families with the best food and the best nutrition to help them live healthier and happier life. That's a very interesting initiative. You run 45 points of sale already. And then Joan. Joan is a director and a main researcher at the ICTA and Autonomous University of Barcelona. You work at the Environmental Technologies and Science Institute, and have been involved in many projects, including with international organizations. So that being said, I suggest we start the session. I will do a quick introduction on a project which is called the Mainstream Project, which has been initiated by the Ellen MacArthur Foundation, as well as the World Economic Forum. You probably have seen yesterday Ellen MacArthur. She gave a presentation, a speech yesterday morning. And Mainstream is an initiative which aim is to push forward the circular economy at the World Economic Forum. Last year, this initiative called Mainstream presented the plastics report, which has been unfortunately famous for the data that came out saying that by 2050 there would be potentially as much plastic as fish in the ocean. This year we are going to work on a biocycle report, and this conference will be, and your inputs will be an input to the concept paper that will be presented in Davos in 2017 in January. So what is at stake when we talk about capturing the opportunity of the urban biocycle? So as you see on this slide, it's a burning subject. It's a systemic shift that we're witnessing right now. For three reasons. We see a lot of degradation of natural capital on the planet. We see about 75 billion tons of fertile topsoil lost each year. We see mismanagement of the nutrient flows that come from the natural systems. For example, the ocean dead zones now represent a huge part of the oceans because the nutrients are not returning to the soil. And we see a lot of externalities. Agriculture represents about 25%, close to 25% of total CO2 emissions. So beside those negative points, there are tremendous opportunities to improve the way we manage the biocycle. Why is that? Well, if we look in the city, for example, 13 billion tons of biomass is harvested globally for food, energy, and materials that come into the city. But the problem is that most of those nutrients come out through the wastewater, they come out through the waste, the solid waste, but they don't come back to where they come from. They don't come back to the nature. And it is a massive subject because cities represent 75% of world's natural resource consumption, 80% of global energy supply, and 75% of global CO2 emissions. But only 10% approximately of the solid waste is harvested in the cities to make bioenergy or to be anaerobically digested or to make compost. So only 10% of all those resources that come into the cities are used back in a circular manner. So what are the opportunities? What can we do with it? There are three things that we will work on this report of three initiatives we can do to reuse the value of bio-waste in the city. The first one is what we call biorefineries. As you know, about 30% of the food is lost in the process, and there are a lot of new materials or new nutrients that can be recovered from food in the cities through biorefineries. The second one is energy. Today, only 1.5% of global electricity generation comes from bio sources. And this is mostly from stoves in emerging countries, in Africa. But there are much more opportunities for distributed energy to leapfrog from the big power plants to locally produced energy using the bio resources from the cities. And the last point is what we call nutrient recovery. There are a lot of nutrients that come out from the bio waste in wastewater, for example, like nitrate, nitrogen, and other phosphorus, other nutrients. And today, the generation of chemical inorganic nitrogen fertilizers is huge. The production worldwide is about 465 million tons of CO2 impact. And we believe that if we would recover 100% of the nutrients, we would produce the equivalent of 2.7 times those fertilizers. So there's a lot of potential there as well. So what are the key messages from this bio waste situation? The first message is that today, cities produce a huge amount of post-use waste. It is going to be about 2.2 billion tons in 2025, almost a double from 2012. The second message is that all of this growth will happen in emerging countries. 70% of the global waste will be produced in emerging countries also in 2025. And it's interesting because 60% of the waste in emerging countries is organic, whereas in Europe, 60% of the waste is packaging. So there's a lot of potential for organics in those countries. The problem is that 80% of this waste in emerging countries is still disposed in open dumps. Therefore, it's not treated. It's pure methane coming in the atmosphere. And it will amount from 5% today to 10% of global CO2 emissions, because there is so much waste that is being decomposed outside, it's becoming a major CO2 factor. So, as mentioned, there are multiple opportunities for recovery and valorization of this waste, nutrients, energy, high-value products, and there is a lot of potential in cities. This is precisely what we're going to discuss right now. I suggest to give the floor to Teresa. And your presentation is about the circular bioeconomy. So I'll give you the floor.
Okay. First of all, I will thank Henry for the presentation. Okay. I thank the organization, the FIRA Barcelona, for organizing the meeting, and thank also the audience for being here with us today. We are talking about this part of the cycle, the biocycle, and as Henry said, it's an important issue because the bioeconomy is key to achieve the main social goals, such as fight against hunger or poverty, and the use of soil and water. The bioeconomy is also an important factor in the energy production, but especially in renewable energy. Okay. When we looking at, as Henry said also, when we see the municipal biowaste management, we saw that when we dump biowaste in landfill, the organic matter is decomposed and generates methane emissions, liquid leachates, and others. On the other hand, the decomposition of organic matter under control, named composting, produce compost and organic fertilizer, which improve the quality of soil. And the anaerobic digestion of biowaste make it possible to obtain biogas is a renewable fuel. So we need separate collection of organic fraction in order to recover the sources and produce renewable energy. We have, in the framework of circular economic package, we have a general program of waste prevention and management and resources in Catalonia that my colleague Alfred named yesterday in his presentation. We have a lot of general objectives, specific and actions, but we would like to highlight we have quantity targets and quality targets very difficult to achieve if we don't change the way we work. So we have to work in the biowaste cycle. This is the biowaste cycle. I put this picture to make it easier to understand. The first step is the generation, but before generation, we need to talk about prevention. We have a lot of activities in Waste Agency of Catalonia to improve prevention in our territory, to help the local authorities to go in this way. I want to highlight the use of ventilated bins and compostable bags to decreasing water content in the selective collection of organic waste. This is one of them. If you look at the generation in Catalonia, we can see that the organic matter is the biggest part of the production. And in the organic matter fraction, we include food waste and garden and park waste. That is important. It's important also to see that 1/3 of the organic waste generated is from commercial activities, such as hotels, restaurants, or food distribution. So we can work together to achieve these goals. The next step of the cycle is the selective collection. Selective collection of biowaste became compulsory in 1993 in Catalonia. The separate collection rate now currently is 40% with a significant contribution of biowaste. We separate around 400,000 tons per year of biowaste. That is 1/3 of all the biowaste we generate. The 80% of municipalities in Catalonia have selective collection of biowaste. This service covers 95% of the population, and the other part of are small towns. We have home composting. Now the cycle, the system is running in Catalonia, but is not using for everybody. We have different models on biowaste selective collection, and we are monitoring the whole system with data. We manage these results. Here you can see some results. There are very different between models. We have quantity results and quality differences between the models. The next step is treatment. We have anaerobic digester plants and composting plants. Here in the slides you can see the geographical situation, and the size of the sphere shows the capacity of the facility. So you can see some small facility in a decentralized scheme near Pallars Sobirà is a SCO program, international program, shows the result in this decentralized scheme. And also we have a big facility like as the anaerobic digestion here in Barcelona. The next step of the cycle is the composting. We produce compost as a product. We produce around 60,000 tons per year. We monitoring the quality of this compost, and the most general use is in agriculture, and we use also in gardening. Now, this is my next slide, sorry. This is the biocycle. It's obvious with this day we are here with a lot of people that we need collaboration, with all the stakeholders of the cycle. But the local authorities have an important role to make the whole cycle running and show it. But the most important action is for our individual action. If we don't make the action to do the selective collection, it's impossible for us to achieve the results. So please don't break the cycle. And I have two interesting projects to show it. One European project, one local project. If it's interesting for you, we can speak about it for hours.
Thank you, Teresa, for this very interesting and very high results in terms of selective collection. 40% is a very big number compared to the 10% in OECD that we have seen. So it's definitely a leading example of what is being done in Europe. I will now pass the floor to Joan, who will talk to us about how to grow food in cities, which is a very exciting project.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Good. Okay. Thank you for inviting me and interaction with you and other members of this table. Okay. I present very quickly a project. If you're interested in this kind of project, the website, fertilcity.com, a lot of information, technicians, social, economical, another point of view. My presentation, okay? No? It's the opposite. Perfect. My first slide to connect with the last presentation. The last presentation explained to organic waste. No? I present before to organic waste, no? And to focus my presentation in cities, because the production, the food is produced majority outside the cities, no? Now, the cities import a lot foods. For instance, today when we launch, no? When tasked a marvelous and sustainability salad, no? One part of the salad is tomato, for instance, no? And this tomato, now in Barcelona, approximately 85% this tomato transport approximately 1,000 kilometers. Only a small part this kind of tomato can you taste today in the Congress, outside the Congress, is produced in local production. It's a lot import. This process generate a lot impacts, not only impacts in energy, impacts in lost food. Approximately 30% this food not arrive home. In front this, now it's a complementary alternative in front the traditional agriculture, urban agriculture. Now, the urban agriculture startup principally interested in social aspects. Now, NGO and public organization focus your attention in social service, social inclusion, education, health, cultural heritage. But in the future, now, change very quickly. Another point of view to urban agricultural to grow, environmental and economic aspects. In this, I comment only one, principally to connect with the first speakers to the soil. This is a very important problem, and to reduce the pressure in the fertile soil. If you produce foods in cities, to reduce the pressure in another part of the planet. No? Another, change the cities, greening cities. Decrease the energy consumption in transport and another in the buildings, decrease the water demand, decrease in distribution requirements, and finally, to possible biogenetic carbon capture in the process. In economic, is this point of view very recently, different groups working together in this part to decrease the food cost, is to produce near to the consumers, the cost in different parts of this process to eliminate or reduce the cost in building, and another point. Now exists different strategy in urban agriculture. Peri-urban is the majority, soils in cities, use the soils in cities, but I present you the future, another vision of the future. The work in different groups integrate in building urban rooftop farming on the building in LEDs, another kind of technology to produce food. No? This is a project to start up 6 years ago, and now is a project working different groups and collaboration with different universities and companies around the world. I present very quickly. The idea is to connect to circular economy, to connect another visions, to connect in cities, energy, water, and emissions. The idea is to circular to the heat loss, the residual energy, to emissions in the city, to recuperate in the system, and rainwater not only used in service, you use in agriculture, and finally to depuration, the COD, in transform in photosynthesis in new foods. This is example. It's very important. You task, no? I invite you. You visit my laboratory, and you test different new products, tomato, salads, and other recent beans. Finally, very quickly, the experience, the lifetime. What is experience? The first. The productions, very important productions in this kind intensive systems. Another, it's not necessary in greenhouse to use energy, to recuperate the energy to building. Another aspect is use, a lot of use the rainwater in cities. Now it's a very problems in different kind of cities, no use rainwater, intensity rainwater. In that case, it's majority self-sufficient in water, economy aspects, CO2 reduction, and the perception. For me, it's very important. This product is good for the city. The citizens is good. The perception is very good. And reuse, finally, the waste. Not only use this kind of waste in classic use, connect with your first presentation, use in new products. For instance, the isolation materials in building, use in new textiles. I hope in the future conference, my sweater is made to tomato. I hope in the future, if you invite me, of course, no? And finally, the research no stop, to continuous research in this project now, to research to connect to weight, not only building to rooftop greenhouse, to connect recirculation, residual water, And now working a new protocol to use drones. It's possible you use drones in cities. It's now it's just finished this project and quantify very quickly what is the potential this roof to produce foods in cities. For instance, these drones to test recently in Ruby cities, in my university, and in the future, I hope in Barcelona. Finally, the new possibility, the business model, and a possibility to the sustainability in the cities. Thank you very, very much. Okay.
Thank you very much, Joan, for projecting us into the future. I will now pass the floor to Silvio to talk about what's happening every day, the kitchen project that you're going to present us.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you very much. Thank you all. Thank you for the opportunity to share my experience with food waste in our company. To give you some context, we are a company that was born 15 years ago, and we run a chain of supermarkets, something as easy as that. So I have to tell you something. About 7 years ago, I woke up with a very harsh stomachache, a very deep stomachache. And that was because the day earlier, I had asked for the figures about how many fruits and vegetables we were throwing away every day. I thought that because, to give you the context, we are a very small company in terms of food retail. We have 45 stores. 7 years ago, maybe we had 20 stores open. And I thought the figures would be measured in kilos. And I was astonished and dismayed. I felt sick immediately when I found out that we could measure food being thrown away to the containers in tons. And I thought, I don't want to feel that much sick every day. I have to do something about it. And I started thinking and taking a closer look on what's happening in our stores. And what I found out is that most of the fruits and vegetables that we were throwing away to the container could be avoided, could be anticipated, because I saw, I examined buyers' psychology, my psychology as a buyer, your psychology as a buyer, and we all acted the same. We chose the good-looking pieces of fruit and vegetables. So when a carrot was broken in two pieces, nobody wanted to buy this one. I bought the other one. The one was intact in one piece, and that carrot was perfect for eating and for cooking. The same happened with an eggplant. An eggplant that had maybe the first wrinkle, and the next one, the eggplant sitting next to this wrinkled eggplant was completely sleek, lean. Everyone was looking for the good one, for the good-looking one. The same thing happened with tomatoes. The same thing happened with apples that had maybe a bruise, or maybe that had a slightly damaged. And I thought, we can see that in advance. We can do something about that. So we started a project we called La Cuina, which is the kitchen. It's a very easy project, very complex in implementation, very easy. The idea in the concept is very easy. What we do is we collect those pieces of fruit and vegetables. We educate our employees to separate and to withdraw from the aisles and from the shelves those pieces that we positively know that will not be bought by our customers, but they are perfect for cooking and for doing something different. So we collect every day these pieces of fruits and we take them to a kitchen we have built where we transform these into marvelous and wonderful products. So we wanted to not only give some extra added value to the product. We wanted, in the first place, retain the value that those products had from the start. So today, I would say I'm very proud. No, I'm not so proud because we are more demanding. But nearly 40% of all the fruit and vegetables that we consider waste in our stores is taken to the kitchen where we make all these creams and broths and soups and pâtés and things like that. The other 60%, we're working on that. Of course, we work with entities, with local restaurants and places where they need food, and we give away some of this food. But still, we are unhappy about this 40%. We want to reach 60% next year. That's our goal. So this is what we do, and we are very proud to say that it's a small initiative, but we think that big changes require small actions and very small steps taken, and we're part of it. And that's it. You can see from the other 2 slides an image of what the outcome of what we do. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Silvio. This is a very interesting example. You told me the other day that people buy with the eyes, and now they buy with their stomach, I think, because when you see the product, they look very, very attractive. I would like maybe to start with one question to each of the panelists, which is basically, what would be the #1 action that you would see would help the cities improve the urban biocycle? And by giving us a case example. Maybe we can start with you?
For me, I hope the next Smart City Congress, or Circular Economy, is possible to visit to the roof. Now it's not used any activities, and to produce foods for the Congress and task different kind of products, local products, is my vision. Is in the next Smart City Congress, and especially in circular economy, to test the products in the Congress.
From the roof.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, I don't have any magical recipe, but I've always thought that if we make our actions visible to us, if we approach the outcome of our actions to our eyes, we become responsible. So as I think that everything starts from education, I would use schools and universities, maybe organize some kind of contest where circular economy with food could be put into action. And that means maybe not collecting the waste every day, so piling it up so I can see it every day and the smell and the things and do something about it to avoid what I don't want to see. If I make it so visible to my eyes, I will act responsibly for sure.
Very practical suggestion. And what about you, Teresa?
So for me, the most important thing we can do in order to recover the resources, bioresources, is do selective collection in origin, because if we don't do this action, it's impossible to recover afterwards the bio waste, in the waste. We need to do the selective collection. For me, is the most important thing. And the way we do it is, for me, the most important is do in a personalized system, like door-to-door system. I don't know if you know. And we have a lot of successful cases here in Catalonia running. But the most important city in Europe doing this kind of model is the city of Milano in Italy. And they have very high results in this system.
It's true that Milano was supposed to be here today, but they could not make it. But they have an 85% collection rate, which is huge. And that is probably because they're invited to all the conferences that they could not come today, because probably their boss asked them to do the work, maybe go to 90% or something like that. I will turn to you, Joan, with one specific question linked to your activities. You know, we all know that cities are an essential part of the collection value chain, but there is also innovation that is being needed to improve these collection rates that you just mentioned. And so what could be the role of cities to foster that innovation? And in particular, what could be the role to drive the urban biocycle forward by optimizing the interrelation between water, energy, food in cities, you touch upon that, but also the use of local resources to optimize nutrition and food security. So how can we do that, and do you have any case examples of that?
Okay. The first, the cities to improve the individual aspects, to improve the water, to improve the energy, to improve, or startups to improve to food, but not connected. My group, the visions, is to, in the future, this different flow to interaction in nexus, water, for instance, the rainwater to connect to food, food to connect to residual energy, the residual energy used in another aspect. It's very necessary to interaction. In the future, vision is nexus in this area. Now, different parts of the world, for instance, in Holland or United States, to start up a new experience, parallel the project I present with you. For instance, in Holland, Philips company in new building to put a rooftop greenhouse in the top, and to start up to interconnection. Not only produce food, produce fish, because it's very important nutritional aspects. Recently, in the most important project congress around the world, the life cycle assessment in food in Dublin, different speakers focus your attention not only security food, focus your attention in nutritional food. I connect with another speaker to the stomachache and another aspect. This is very important. Philips to company, not relationships to the food, to interconnection your activities with food. And another country in United States, big supermarkets produce one part of these horticultural products in the roof and to send immediately or to pick up for the consumers and to reduce to the traceability these kind of products. Two examples, the new process, the transition.
Thank you very much. I have another question for Teresa. One key point I think we see in the numbers is the potential, the huge value creation that we can have by improving the collection rate. And obviously, one key element for that is the harmonization, the convergence of the collection system from one city to another and so on. Because, we go to see some friends in Berlin or in Italy, and the system is different. And so there's a need for harmonization from one city to another, from one country to another. What could that be done through cross-city collaboration, for example? And what are the things, the key success factors to implement this selective collection in bio-waste?
Thank you. For me, it's difficult to select the key factor, but I try to do it. And for me, it's very important legal and fiscal incentives. We have here in Catalonia a system with tax disposal tax. It's a circular system to this tax, because the producer, the bio-waste producer, have to pay tax per ton of rice fraction disposal, and we return a payback in order to improve the selective collection of a lot of fraction, but mainly bio-waste, to be cheaper, the action we need to do. The other second, we speak about it before, is make personalized system, and if it's possible, pay as you throw system, because their system make easy to to improve the results. Working with commercial activities is also a very important factor because it's a part, important part of the cycle. Monitoring and feedback, give feedback to the producer. We, in the first session of today, we heard about data, and it is very important to know the results our actions. Innovation solutions, we need innovation solutions too. And demonstration, we need to have a demonstration site, a successful demonstration site to show the results to the other, because this is a very nice and important way to show to work in a work. And the last, I think, is the most important, is to involve the citizen, involve the population, and in the showing the whole cycle with communication and improve the awareness.
Okay, thank you so much. I have maybe another question for Silvio. You know, the cities are obviously an essential part of the organics value chain, but only just one part, as you mentioned. And the question is, you know, what do you see as the role of cross-value chain as well as responsibility sharing between public, private organizations, as well as cities, education bodies, and families?
That's a very good question. I've always thought that we have to align all these at all levels. We have to align the public sector with the private sector, with households and families. And I think you mentioned, Teresa, in your last slide, that it takes good incentive for everyone to do things properly. And we are used to being punished when we do things not good, and we are seldom rewarded when we do good things. So I think we should somehow implement some kind of new way of taxing or providing good incentive for those who try to do things properly. I think the private sector, we have our own responsibility, but we have to be very coordinated. Education is the pillar. It's fundamental. And of course, all the efforts that are being put forth by the public sector have to be visible and have to be accompanied by some kind of incentive.
Thank you very much. I think we can maybe move to questions, Q&A sessions. I have very interesting questions here that came out from the Ask and Vote app, but I think somebody has raised a hand. So.
Hello. Is it working? Yeah.
Yeah.
So my name is Alicia. I work for a company. It's called Symbiosis, and they mainly work with industrial symbiosis. My question, I think, is to Teresa. So she puts a lot of emphasis in the importance in such a city of Barcelona, but I guess in the rest of the territory, in making a proper garbage collection. Then in a city like Barcelona, that it's mainly based in tourism, and there are lots of new people coming every day and living in 2 days. How do you make sure that this collection is properly done, especially in organic waste? And as a second question, I guess, so all these businesses, such as all-you-can-eat restaurants or all the cruises that come to the city and dispose all their organic waste in the city, could there be any kind of penalization, or what's the capacity of administrations to penalize if someone is over-wasting food? Because, of course, if you have an all-you-can-eat restaurant, all that food is not going to be eaten. So I don't know what role does the administration or Catalan administration or in general can play in here?
Okay.
Is it a difficult question? Sorry.
Okay, yes, it's a difficult question. The first one, can you repeat the first one question, please?
Well, in a way, it's, if we have so many visitors,
Tourism.
yeah, and they generate a lot of waste, as everybody, right? Unfortunately. So how do you deal with this kind of waste that probably these people come here and they don't know how our selection process works. So what goes into yellow or what goes into brown? So how do you inform
Yes,
these people
yes.
and make sure this is well done?
Yes. I think it's a problem of harmonization, that said Henry. If we achieve organized, harmonized system in Europe, it could be easier to involve tourism. But I think when we move around the building, we know that we need to enter, to accredit it, to do the correct things, and I think in the selective collection is the same. We need to inform in the easy way, put the correct, the right things in the street or at the tourist buildings, inform through the owners of these buildings or these sites, tourist sites, restaurants, hotels. I think it's very important that Veritas do, but people who buy things in Veritas know your product, your project. I think it's very important that the activities show the users these kind of things, because in this way, all people can be involved in the cycle. I think is the way. And the other is how public administration can punish the incorrect thing. I think I mentioned our disposal tax. It's a very important tool to increase the cost of disposal and to decrease the cost of recovery and make selective collection or make the recycle. I think is the main tool.
Any other question from the room so far?
One here. Hello.
Please.
My name is Douglas Mulhall. I represent the Institute EPEA, which we are the scientific founders of the cradle-to-cradle design protocol on which the two circles of the circular economy are based. So that's who we are. I just wanted to let you know, in relationship to organic food waste and organic waste in general, that in collaboration with 25 other organizations, we are initiating early next year a healthy printing initiative for printing inks on packaging and on publications. Now, why is this important for food waste? Those of you who live in the Netherlands and Germany know that recently there has been a big scandal about the contamination of food with mineral oil from printing inks. And these printing inks are finding their way into the food in two ways. One is through direct transmission through the package, off-gassing right into the food. And the other is through recycling, because the paper is being recycled and the printing inks are not completely removed during the recycling process. It also increases the cost of recycling because all of these printing inks are highly hazardous and they become toxic waste and they have to be incinerated or landfilled. So the good news is that a number of printers and suppliers have actually developed healthy inks in the past 5 years. So what we are doing is we're bringing together the suppliers with the buyers to begin to accelerate the scaling up of these healthy inks into food packaging, into publications, so that we can make the paper recycling industry more affordable and more cost effective, and we can make organic waste truly organic. Because what we need is actually compostable packaging and compostable publishing that is safe for food. So hopefully that will support, and I just also want to say, you have are all doing fantastic work. I think this is a wonderful presentation that you've made showing all of these advances that you're going through. And I would encourage you each to join the Healthy Printing Initiative so that we can move this forward and have truly healthy organic residues that we can use for other things.
Thank you. Thank you very much. A very key subject. De-inking is difficult. Getting clean ink is much better. Any other question from the room? We have plenty from the Ask and Vote. Maybe we can go through some of them and then go back to the room. First one I have here on the list from Julian is, how is Veritas working towards a more accessible, sustainable food source for people that do not have the money to buy organic?
Where is Julian? All right. We've reduced the basket in 15 years. Buying a basket of organic products is half the cost of what it was 15 years ago. Today, I mean, we've lowered that amount 50% of what it was. Still, we know that families would like to buy more if they could. So we put great effort in implementing and doing things for narrowing the supply chain, for reaching yearly agreements with producers and growers, so we can have a stable price. We accept a wider range of gauges of fruits and vegetables, so that we can buy at the lower, because we commit to the growers. We can assure them that they will sell everything, so they give me a better price, and I can transfer this better price for the consumers. We've taken a myriad initiatives to make the organic products more accessible to families. But of course, there's other things we can do, such as educating people on knowing where they should allocate their budgets to. It's something very macro, if you say, but it's both things. It's trying to have a very fair price for families and for consumers, but at the same time, we have to increase education on people, for people to know that you cannot buy chicken breast for at €3 a kilo. That's impossible. You have to ask yourself how that can be done, and we try to offer some information so you can know the real value of things. Thank you for a very documented answer. I have another question here from Karine for Teresa, which is there a website which shows what happens to the waste which is put in the waste containers in Barcelona?
Well, we have a website in Waste Agency, and you can see a lot of things. And the recent information we put is the video of the local project named Revolta, I mentioned. I don't know if you have a picture in here. Okay, yes, it's a project, a local project near Barcelona to connect the producer of bio-waste. We work with a restaurant and with a school, and Veritas is follow the project to know the results from the beginner, for the start of the project. And we put a machine in the school and after in the restaurant to make easy throw away inside this machine the food waste from the kitchen, and this machine only dry the food waste. After this dry food waste is putting in a nearby agricultural cooperative, to composting this waste and make compost, to use the compost as a fertilizer in the production and give some fruit and vegetables to the restaurant and to the school. And the most important thing is to show this cycle to the clients of the restaurants and the family of the school to set the information, because we need the participation of the family in the most bigger cycle, and with make selective collection and recover this food waste in our composting plant and anaerobic digestion plant, centralize it. But with the local project, we want to show the whole cycle, and this video is available in our website.
Thank you. I think I have another question maybe for you, Joan, which is linked to your drone estimation by drone of the potential. So the question is, what amount of food could be produced inside Barcelona?
Wow. It's very difficult. I want a project to analyze this area, this industrial park and service park, this part of Barcelona, and analyze to the potential roof. It's transformed immediately in rooftop greenhouse. Immediately, is any architecture or rebuilding in this case. It's immediately to installation. Approximately 10% of this roof, this area, the big industrial area, it's transformed today in food. And approximately the production, this area, to satisfy 200,000 citizens in a specific horticultural products. Another impact for me is when you arrive in airplane in Barcelona, your new vision in this delta area. Now only your vision is a metallic roof, or your vision is only concrete roof. It's in the past a very important area, agricultural area, and I think in the future, when you implant to rooftop greenhouse, your new vision of Barcelona, you arrive agricultural delta in Barcelona. Approximately, it's the project. It's quantified 200,000 in only in this 10% of the covers in a specific horticultural group, not total group.
Thank you. There's another question which was asked about what can we do with the biowaste. So besides composting and besides energy, what are the possible streams for organic waste in cities? So the answer there is that besides doing energy and besides composting for agriculture, we can do biorefineries, and those biorefineries can produce bio-based products. The tomato pullover you mentioned, they can produce biofuels. They can produce biochemicals as well, which are alternative to mineral chemicals. So this is really a direction that some countries are really putting forward. For example, Finland has estimated that its biorefinery, its bioeconomy could grow at a rate at 4% per annum, and they expect potential of 100,000 jobs created in Finland just by this new biotech economy. I have a few other questions. The time is running fast, so I would maybe ask if somebody else has a question in the room. Yes. Sorry, we can hear you, Julian.
In food that's being produced, close to 40% of the food that's produced never makes it to the marketplace. Are you working with what food is being lost or being kept in storage to keep high prices on food value in the market? Or are you not really focusing on that, rather on food waste, which is the last part of the cycle in food? To everyone in the panel. Bueno, si quieren lo repito en español para que sea más fácil. La comida que se produce se pierde hasta un 40% de la comida que se produce que ni siquiera llega al mercado. Y aparte de eso, la comida que llega al mercado ya es lo último en su ciclo. Y si están trabajando con rebajar los precios del mercado por muchas compañías que retienen comida que no llega al mercado para mantener precios altos, o si solo están trabajando con el último ciclo que ya es la comida que llega al mercado y no con todo lo que está produciendo que se mantienen ya sea en fábricas que no sacan la comida para mantener un precio alto o si solo es lo último que están trabajando, básicamente.
We are working about fight against food waste in a European context, and we are doing a lot of things in all the production chain, beginning to agriculture sector with production, food and the local authorities, and we are doing a lot of actions you can see in our website to fight against this loss this loss of food, but no in relation to decrease prices or regulated the price to sell the product. But we are doing a lot of things, and we are very spectacular results to reduce this quantity losses.
Thank you. I think we are running close to the end of this session. I wanted to thank our participants and thank you to be here. I will ask maybe one last question to our panelists, which is if they would have only one word to conclude on this session of what they believe is key to improve the urban biocycle in cities. And I will give the floor to Silvio.
Just one word: education. Education at all levels and coordination.
Sharing. Yes.
Collaboration is very important.
Yes, well, thank you. Thank you very much. I think we have arrived to the end of this session. I wanted to thank our panelists, and I think they deserve a big round of applause. And let's hope that next time we can use our own tomatoes from the roof. So.
All right, great. So we're now going to take our lunch break, but thank you to the panel again. Very important and interesting work. I also want to remind you we're still doing the sign-ins for the workshops that start at 4:30, so please check that out in the back so that we have you all engaged at 4:30, and we will take an hour and 15 minutes, I think, for lunch. Meet back here at 3:15 for the elevator pitch sessions that we're going to do on circular innovation initiatives. See you all in an hour and 15.